Oh man, isn't it always the way that when things are going smoothly, things are tracking well, you have a lot of momentum on a project, boom, that's when you get blindsided and things go sideways. Well, this morning, thousands of creatives, including myself, woke up to an insidious announcement from Adobe. Yes, the same Adobe that was recently investigated for anti-consumer behavior. Well, that Adobe, in all their hollow corporate wisdom, have decided to eradicate the popular and widely used animation tool Adobe Animate, and in so doing, decimate a large section of the creative industry, including threatening the future of my indie game Blood and Mead. Now, I used the word eradicate because they're not just trying to end the software and, no longer support it. No. You see, that would be fine. You see, what they're doing is much more sinister. You see, they want to lock us out of our own animation files. They want to stop us accessing the art files inside the software. I mean, there's absolutely no reason for them to do this. It's absolutely crazy. And people are understandably freaking the hell out. Truly vile that Adobe are opting to kill Animate Flash with no contingencies in place for the thousands of animators, including every single one I work with, who are going to lose access to the program they've been mastering for up to 3 decades. This is an industry-killing move. And here's Chicken Nugget, a massive independent cartoon show on YouTube with millions of subscribers. Adobe Animate is the program we use to make the show. This decision will not only harm countless jobs in industry, but render so much past creations as lost media. I'm hoping they reverse this decision for the sake of animators everywhere. Why on earth are you discontinuing Animate, one of your most popular apps? Why do you guys keep doing this? Not working on it anymore is one thing, but why strip away access too? I mean, what the actual fuck? So I just want to say, Adobe, I hope you lose your entire user base, because that's exactly what you deserve at this point. And I say this as someone who has been for a long time a fan and supporter of your software. I used to go to all the road shows in my city. Back then, I was such a supporter that I was even invited to a private dinner with the Australian CEO of Adobe and their senior management team. Back when you guys still had some shred of decency and integrity. So this was a message that was sent to everyone. We're contacting you to let you know that Adobe will be discontinuing Adobe Animate on March 2026. As an existing Animate user, you may continue to use Animate, but please note that technical support will no longer be available after March 1st, 2027. And here comes the big one. Please note that access to your Animate files and project data will end on March the 1st, 2027. To ensure a smooth transition, we encourage you to export your Animate, FLA, and XFL files to other formats such as SWIFT, SVG, MP4 before this date. Now, this suggestion at the end is completely laughable. You see, Animate uses an FLA file format. In that FLA, you have a timeline with art and animation that's created and embedded in that timeline. You can't just export it out to a compressed MP4 format. It lives in that timeline. The FLA is the file. You can't separate the two without destroying the work. It's absolutely ludicrous. It'll be like making a suggestion to patch a flat car tire with a chicken sandwich. Like, it's completely illogical. And it just shows how ignorant they are to their own tooling and what it actually means to the community. Here's one from Kenny as he quotes their idiocracy, to which he replies, "They literally have no idea what their own software does or how it works." And that announcement, the wording, is so nonchalant, like there is sunsetting some technology that nobody is using, but that could not be further from the truth. This decision by Adobe will impact so many people's livelihoods and careers. It's still very widely used by cartoonists, animators from every spectrum of the industry, all the way from students to hobbyists to professionals. My day job still uses it extensively in our pipeline. And of course, I'm still using it in my game Blood and Mead. And again, if this was simply a case of them wanting to retire the tool, that's one thing. But they want to lock us out of our files. What if a game like Castle Crashers wants to do an update or roll out some kind of an expansion? They won't be able to access their files under this new system. Here's a nice showcase of some popular content made with Animate, all made at least partially with Adobe Animate, the program that Adobe doesn't think deserves to exist anymore. And here Adobe, just a few days ago, wrote on their social, "We're committed to helping filmmakers and creators bring their visions to life." And Rubber Ross writes back, "That's weird because I read you're killing Adobe Animate. The program that a ton of independent animators use." And here we have Ed McMillan chiming in to say, hey, Binding of Isaac is made with Animate. So, if if Ed wanted to access any of his art files in Animate, it's going to be locked out. Fucking wild. Oh, and here's me chiming in because I also happen to use Animate for pretty much all my animation and artwork. Over 1,000 hours of animation work that I'm being now told I will not be able to access. I don't exactly know at this point what I'm going to do to deal with this. The whole idea of exporting to another format or whatever, it's not possible. It doesn't work like that, and Adobe knows it. They're just writing some PR fluff to try to cover their arse somehow, but it's not going to work. This is not a viable solution that they're offering. There's all manner of secret links and websites that you can visit to get your hands on some Adobe products, but it's not really viable to scale a career and a business around these kind of approaches. It can be a good band-aid solution, but with this announcement from Adobe, man, I tell you, they're asking for it. And the ridiculous thing is, Adobe at this moment still has an active lawsuit against them from the Department of Justice and FTC for violating consumer rights. They haven't even settled this lawsuit, and they're already asking for a new one. I mean, who is running this place? You know what? Let's have a look. So the FTC investigation is against these two Adobe executives, Maninder Sawani and this dude here, David Wandani. I mean, look at this guy. Wasn't me. Absolute bozo. These people are not to be trusted, man. Creative Cloud. The first time I heard this phrase, I knew this is going to be a problem. You see, that's where these subscription models continually lead, okay? There was a time where you could just buy Adobe Animate or Flash on a disk or just have a direct download to your hard drive. It's yours forever. That's how it should be. But now with these subscription models, you don't own shit, okay? They can turn it off at any time and lock you out of your files, apparently. This is what you do now. This is kind of where we're at, It feels criminal, and that's probably because it is criminal. And keep in mind, Animate/Flash was never Adobe's product. They simply bought it from Macromedia once it had already become popular. That's why they could not give a shit about this software. They have no connection to it. And between this, which is not so dissimilar to the bullshit Unity was trying to pull a couple of years back, and then you have this Windows 11 stuff going on. Between all of it, I'm just getting really tired, man, of all this enshittification, as it's been called. It's really, it's become very apparent as to where this is all leading. So I'm glad so many people are pushing back, and that's why I'm making this video as a form of protest and also to have a bit of a rant. So anyways, I'm going to wrap up by saying, Adobe, from my gut, from my heart, from my soul, screw you. I hope your stock price flatlines. I curse you. I hope you become nothing more than a memory and a case study of how not to scale a company. Yep, that'll do.